Hello and welcome to Friday afternoon chat and with Dipper. And today we have got two of the Hawthorn's favourite players. Well, one's only started. His name is Jonny Patton, and also Luke Bruest, three-time premiership player, and two of my favourite people in the world because they wear the Hawthorn jumper. Friday afternoon chats is brought to you by Teamcoach. It's all about footy cards and how cool it is to have your face and your body on a footy card. So welcome along, boys.
Hey, Dip, thanks for having us, mate.
Yeah, nice to see you,
cheers,
Johnny.
Dip.
Pleasure.
Good,
John,
good.
So what do we call you, JP or Jonny Pats or the Patman or Patton?
I don't know. You've known me for a while, Dip. What do you call me?
He said JP. I'll call
The
you
general.
JP.
Okay, JP.
Yeah, the general will be fine.
The general.
Hey,
the general.
Hey, Luke, have you given them a nickname as yet?
Well, not really. Clarko is famous for giving out horrible nicknames, but
Right.
what have you got, JP? I think the general's sort of been around. The Hulk got banded around a little bit. What do you like, JP?
Probably not the Hulk. Probably JP, Johnny. It depends. I like the general's funny just to take the piss out of it, but not if it's something serious.
Yeah, fair enough. Because that's what footy clubs are all about. When someone comes along, they make you feel welcome. So, have you been welcome at Hawthorn since you've left GWS?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was as soon as I stepped in, I started training with the first to 4U players late last year. So just to get a head start and to get the names. It's been amazing. I mean, I've met up with Clarko quite a few times before. I pulled up to the club and straight away he made me feel very welcome. And obviously all the boys and they were sending texts straight away when the trade went down, and just everyone from the players to the coaches to the upstairs, the admin people, even past players, like yourself, and that have reached out to me, board members. So it's obviously it's such a big club, but you can tell everyone really cares.
Yeah, terrific, mate. You spent 7 years at GWS as a first starter, a number one draft pick. We'll get to the draft pick later on. There's some great questions here from the kids and parents out there, but just to get a feel of, people say footy clubs are footy clubs. What's the sort of difference have you found between coming home to Melbourne, where you started off, between GWS and Hawthorn?
It's a massive difference. Obviously, I moved there when I was 18, and we all grew up together. And we were obviously just trying to establish a new team, a new club in a foreign environment in Sydney where no one was from there, and you had to make new friends. You had to get to know the city. It was such a big difference. And then moving back here, I was away for quite a while. So coming back here, it was like coming home, but at the same time, it's being away for so long. It was a bit of a not so much a shock to my system, but obviously I had to get used to this city again. Although I'm from it, and come back quite a bit. But it's still a big difference, and obviously the weather and that sort of stuff you get acclimatized to. I've just actually bought a thicker doona. I'm not used to this cold weather, so I literally spent about $500 on a thicker doona. Just that's just the difference between a bit of the lifestyle. But I'm loving it so far, and it's definitely was a big change. But like I said, it's something I thought I needed for my career and me personally. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Welcome to Hawthorn. Luke, it's great to talk to you, my friend. You're up at the farm in New South Wales. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how long you've been up there for, and are you missing footy?
Oh, absolutely missing footy. I've been up here for a few weeks, so as soon as we got the news that the season was postponed, I jumped in the car and got up here, and then I was back in Melbourne for a few weeks, and then I'm back up here this week just to catch up with a few mates, see the family, because unfortunately once games get back going, then I don't think there's going to be too many crowds at the stadium anymore. So mum and dad, there's no point in them driving 6 hours to come and watch when they can't get in the stadium. So I'll catch up with them this week, and then hopefully we're back into it in not too distant future.
Well, it's been a different year, the start of the footy season, and you've done a pre-season, and all of a sudden you do another pre-season. You've got a footy in your hand every day up there?
Not every day. Our program is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then it's good. It gives you a bit of routine. It gives you a bit of structure in your life to be able to get out and go for a run, kick the footy. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a few mates up here that don't mind getting out and doing a bit of hard work with me. So that certainly keeps you motivated. But as you said, the biggest thing for me was you finish that pre-season, you're just so ready for games, and then to only play one, and then for it to just be all over again for an uncertain amount of time was pretty difficult. So trying to keep the motivation up and keep doing your program, and as you said, keep touching the footies to make sure that when we do get the call, we're ready to go. Was pretty difficult.
No, terrific. Now, boys, I've got footy cards in front of me. Now, with you, Luke, well, what a career you've had, my friend. There were 207 odd games, and you've kicked over 300 goals, and you've won 3 premierships on end. Those memories still with you?
Oh, absolutely. They're etched in my memory, mate. As you'd know, they're pretty special times in your footy career, and sort of hard to forget them. I'll never forget that when the siren went in the 2013 Granny and we got the first one. It was just so surreal, and you put in all the hard work and work so hard with all your teammates that to make it all worth it is when you stand on that dicey and accept that medal.
So true. Now, you've got a couple of nice footy cards here, mate. If I could just hold them up there. What's it like having yourself on a footy card? Because back in our day, we used to stand there with the ball pretending to handball. Now, this is like true action stuff. Yeah, those footy cards where you used to pretend to kick and that,
Yeah, that's all set up. Now, it is pretty cool. As you said, like as a kid, I used to collect them all the time, and I was a Saints supporter growing up, so
right,
used to try and get all the Saints boys, and to have I guess now your own face on the footy card's pretty cool. And there's a few stats and things on there, isn't there? What else do they got on there?
Okay. Well, let me get the stats for you. Let me get some stats for you.
Of course, Punky's asking for his stats.
Yeah, here we go. All right, you wear number 22.
Just ask the goals.
Yeah, you debuted in 2011. You've got 207 games under your belt. You've kicked 392 goals. You're born in the 90s, and you play around about 84 kilos. There's your little footy card there. And Johnny, you've got one too, mate. You haven't played a game, or you have played a game yet, but this is it, mate. Look at that gold. That's a gold card straight away.
That's actually that was from a photo shoot, Dips. So I felt a bit like you. I was out in the middle of Waverley Park when they took the photo of that in-game action one. It was a bit funny.
You're just breaking up there. You're just breaking up there, Johnny. So
game face when you're out.
Yeah. So here we've got stats here. You ready to go? 2012, 89 games, 130 goals, and you play at 102 kilos. It was the same sort of weight I was when I was playing on the wing. But anyway, listen, good to have you boys on Friday Chat here. And I've got some great questions here from the kids. And, of course, this is brought to you by Teamcoach. And the best question and the best question wins a box of footy cards. Now, I know, Luke, that you just went through your footy cards just recently. I saw you on Instagram there.
Yep.
Did you?
It took me 9 packs to get a Hawthorn player. Would you believe it? 9 packs.
And who was it?
It was Isaac Smith.
Right. Oh, you love that. You love that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Here's some questions, right? Jonathan, this is to you. Okay. Like yourself, I've had many setbacks, and this is from Alex.
Yeah.
Jonathan, like yourself, I've had many setbacks in my career so far. For me, it was quite a tough and lonely experience. Is there anything particular that helped you get through your injuries and doing what you do best, playing footy?
That's a really good question. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I mean, firstly, you need to have good people around you. If you have a good support network, then you're halfway there. And I think another one is to not put too much pressure on yourself, because no one's perfect. No one's going to have a perfect week of training, perfect month of training. So, especially when you're coming back from injuries or a setback in any, just in life in general, it's not going to go perfect. And just to keep at it. And it's because a lot of people, when you come back from injury, you want to come back and try and kick as many goals as you can, and this and that. I think it's understanding that it's a process, and it can take a long time.
Well, you did it 3 times. The first time, okay, you went down, and the second time, and then the third time. There'll be times out there you're just thinking, what's it all worth? But you're only a young fella.
No, 100%. Well, that's life, and but teaches you many life skills when you go through something like that, especially at a young age. And I mean, you just got to move forward. I mean, you can go one or two ways, I guess, and I think you can. The only road to take is the tough one, and the one that's going to make you a better person and player.
Yeah. This is for you, Luke. This is from Peter. Luke,
Yep.
You came off the rookie draft, which has been a great pathway for many players. Do you think the rookie list is meeting all the club needs? And if the numbers go down in players, do you think the rookie list should be still on board?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. It was certainly very favourable to me when I first started my career. As you said, off the rookie list, I had 3 years on there. Did quite a lengthy apprenticeship at Box Hill before making my debut, and I sort of look back now and just think that it was probably the best way to transition to the AFL for me. I was a skinny kid. I hadn't played much senior footy, so to be able to transition and do my apprenticeship for a couple of years was the best thing for me before I got into a taste of AFL. In terms of list size and all that, I don't know. It's certainly a hard one. You do find those, I guess, the diamonds in the rough where Dean Coxes and Brad Sauls and these sort of guys who have come off rookie lists who have gone on to be absolute stars of the game. So you don't want to miss out on those sort of guys. But at the same time, I think if someone's going to make it from a rookie list, or if lists get cut and they've got to go back to the state leagues, I think anyone who's willing to put in the hard yards, like Johnny said, take that tough road and dedicate themselves to make it, then I think they'll still rise to the top. I think the cream will rise, and if they're going to make it, they're going to make it. It's as simple as that. If they're not willing to do the work, then the system will soon spit them out, I think. Yeah,
fair enough. That's a good answer to that one. But it gave you an opportunity to become who you are today, and we love the rookie list for that.
Sure.
Exactly. Okay,
right.
Jonathan.
Spot on.
Jonathan, this is for you. This is from Luke, not full Luke. This is from Luke, but not this Luke. Another Luke. Jonathan, is there too much expectation and pressure to put on the number one draft pick like yourself? Or rather, you have gone second, third like Luke did, and do you find that difficult being he was a number one draft pick?
Personally, not really, because like I said, obviously being up in Sydney, it was, and we had so many. I think we had the top 5 picks that year, and then we also had Jeremy Cameron, Adam Treloar, Dylan Shield already there, so they're pretty much number one picks in themselves. So there was no real hierarchy, or there was no added expectation, because it wasn't like I was a saviour. Whereas I could probably, a player like Jack Watts, for example, who copped a lot of grief when he was coming through at Melbourne, and Tom Scully as well, because that was their only pick. That was like the saviour. Whereas for me, it wasn't so much that. But Stephen Silvani, when he did draft me, he did ask me the morning of the draft if I wanted to go pick 1 or pick 2, purely. Obviously he said tall forwards can take a lot longer and a bit more pressure, whereas Steve Canoia, who went pick 2, probably just step in and average 22 a game. So obviously I wanted it. Being competitive, you don't want to be second best. So no, I look back with nothing but being proud of myself.
Good boy. And Luke, for you, same Luke to Luke. Being a later draft pick, did that push you to train harder and to prove yourself that I'm better than the pick that you picked me at?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, it was huge motivation for me. That there was a stage probably during my under-18s year where I didn't think I was going to get a chance. So to finally get a chance, get a rookie spot, and just get down to an AFL club was absolutely massive for me. And then, as you said, you want to put your head down and work hard and prove to the guys that you were worth that pick and that you can play a role for this side. And yeah, fortunately for me, that's what I was able to do. And when you get to such a great club like Hawthorn, it's a pretty easy path put in front of you to make it. So yeah, if you're willing to do the work, then they're willing to take you on the journey.
So kids out there, if you're willing to do the work, that's what the answer is for everything. Doesn't matter what you do, school work or work around the house or your chores and that. You got to be willing. Now, Luke, why I've still got you there, mate? You ready? Buddy or roughhead?
Yep. Buddy.
Buddy. Oh,
It's
gee, straight to it.
Well,
Hey.
it depends it depends. It's a hard one. In terms of just pure footy.
No. It's okay. You've crossed the line, buddy, straight away.
I've crossed it. Ruff will hate that one as well.
But
He'll
that's
stand
a
me up
great
over
question. Yeah, that was from Thomas. He just asked Luke, buddy or roughhead. He said buddy straight away. Now, let me have a look here. Okay, so this is from Jordan, Luke.
Yeah.
As you know, the Hawthorn Football Club is a powerhouse club and been around the club now for a little while. And you know the history of the club. Who, in what era would you have loved to play in, and who would have loved to play with? And that's, don't say Dipper because he's asking the questions.
It's a good question. I do love watching some of the 80s highlights. You can't go past, obviously, the 89 grand final and some of those. What, did you play in 6 straight, Dip? Do you want me to bring that up? Is that why you asked it?
No,
seven
straight. Yeah. No. No, that wasn't for me. You know that. Yeah. No, but you played for St Kilda, but at the end of the day, if you had to play in a game, who would you love to play with?
Well, back then, Robert Harvey was 35.
No, for Hawthorn. For Hawthorn.
Oh, for Hawthorn. All right.
Yeah, who would you like to have?
That's a great question.
Have next year.
Well, I'd say I'd love to play alongside Dunstall, but he didn't drop too many. I need the bloke to drop them, and then I can come at their feet. So
good point. Good point.
I'll say Dunstall, but I don't think you dropped too many, so it wouldn't have been too good for my crumbing.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to play with Luke Hodge. You know, I would have loved to see him the way he went about it before the game, after the game, on the field, and he's such a great leader. You would have learned a lot from him.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now to you, Jonathan. This is from Lauren. My son Phoenix is 8 years of age. He would like to know, if footy didn't exist, what job would you love to have?
Oh, it's such a cool. We get this question a lot, and especially like myself, when you drafted at 18, you've gone through the pathways of Victoria, and you play on the LES and all that sort of stuff, and your eyes are pretty much a lot of young guys. You only really set on football at that age, and not till you get older, you start to really think about what you want to do after football and whatnot. And I have a big interest at the moment in property and potentially doing something in that world post-football. Okay. But I reckon if I was 18 and I wasn't getting drafted, I probably would have, to be honest, I probably would have just travelled for a year. I'm not too sure. Come back and just see where the world took me and see what I wanted to do. But when you're young and you're so obsessed with football and you're going through these pathways, it's really hard to. You've got tunnel vision.
For sure.
It's not till you get a little bit older, you start to think about what you really want to do.
I see a rapper behind you, mate. You're a bit of a rapper? Yo, I'm Jonny Patton. Are you like a
verses.
DJ? Are you like Hawthorn's captain, the DJ?
Strats, no, I can't wait to see that guy. No, that's ASAP Rocky there, Dipper. So he's a good rapper, but he's got a bit of style. So
yeah, fair enough. Hey, last but not least, 2 quick questions from Rachel. This is for you, Brucey. Who at the Hawthorn Football Club would be best on The Bachelor?
Is it The Bachelor or Bachelorette? Mr. O'Meara would be up there at the moment, I think, wouldn't he?
Yeah. What about JP?
Well, JP would be right up there as well, I guess. Both of them. You're still single at the moment, aren't you, JP? Yeah. Well, we can't really see anyone, so I haven't really been on the market for a girlfriend. So it's as soon as this is done, mate, that's the first thing on the list is to find myself a girlfriend.
All right, two more questions, and this is for both of you guys. This is from Lauren. My son Loxley, is 8 years of age. He wants to know, who was your favourite player as a kid, and what would you have loved to ask him? John, what I've got you on screen, mate?
My favourite player growing up was Nick Rewalt. My mum's a massive St Kilda fan, so I used to always go to the games with her, and she had a front row seat, so I was pretty much just sitting there, and I would just watch Nick Rewalt. You know, the ball would be on the other end, but I'll just watch really run around. And fortunate enough that obviously being in the system, I've got to meet him quite a few times and have a few chats with him, and really nice, kind guy. And yeah,
What questions did you ask him? Did you ask him what sort of questions did you ask him about footy?
It was probably more, obviously first bit of my career, he was still playing. So
yeah,
it was probably more just, you know, hello and how you going type thing. But I've seen him post a few games and just, you know, a couple of little pointers or something if I've done well or haven't done, you know, can work on.
Okay.
After my first Marsh game this year, my first game back in, you know, over a year and a half, he was really nice. He spoke to me after the game and, for about 5 minutes. So even just that, you know, I've been in system for 9 years now, and just, you know, still, you know, having a chat to your idol growing up.
That's great.
Still pretty cool and something I'll cherish. Yeah.
And Luke, yourself, I would think it's Robert Harvey, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, that's spot on. So I'll stick with the Saints theme, and Robert, I was sort of trying to think of what I would have asked him back then. I think my biggest question is when I was like a real little kid was how important is like the left hand, like opposite side of your body. So left hand for me, left hand handball, left hand kick. So yeah, just maybe ask him how important he found being able to be sort of pretty competent on your opposite side of your body, and whether that helped him throughout his AFL career. I think, yeah, that would have been a pretty handy answer when I was probably 7 or 8, I think.
Fair enough. And the last one for you, Luke, is what was it like, and this is from Zach, what was it like to kick the winning goal in the last quarter to win your first premiership?
One of the best feelings that you can have on a footy field, I reckon. That one certainly fell in my lap. Do you remember it, Dipper?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Forward pocket.
I was very excited when you kicked that.
Yeah, so I hadn't kicked one all day as well, so it was even better to finally kick a goal, and as you said, to be, I think that put us 15 or 16 points up, so with only a couple of minutes left. So it was a pretty special moment in my career.
Well, it started a beautiful career for you. Well, boys, I was going to say thank you very much for chatting with us on Friday chat, and we thank Teamcoach for organising this. All the kids out there love watching you guys play. Hope you get to play footy very, very shortly. And Jonathan, look after yourself, and welcome to the Hawthorn Footy Club.
Thanks, dude. Greatly appreciate it, mate.
Cheers,
Good to speak to you.
Pleasure, boys.